Hello, hello, hello. Test, test, test. it's been a minute since I did an actual regular stream. Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about, to be honest with you. And I've been doing those the Bitcoin magazine little video snippet thingies that hopefully you guys have liked. I've been doing them about, if you're familiar, I've been doing them twice a week. And you can check them out either on my YouTube page or on Bitcoin Magazine's website. And I usually repost them on my Twitter feed, and you can follow them on Bitcoin Magazine. So yeah, just a little bit of housekeeping stuff. I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys right now that my charts aren't as organized and labeled as they usually are. I mean, if you want to call them organized, whatever you want to call them. For whoever doesn't know, I'm sponsored by TradingView, and whoever is my like POC with TradingView, that dude dropped the ball and forgot to renew my my membership with them, and they wiped my fucking charts. So I'm currently using the Pro Plus package, which is nowhere near as nice as the premium, and all my charts are unlabeled and all that stuff. So fun times. What else? Oh yeah. If you want to, make sure you get notifications of whenever I post the Bitcoin Magazine videos, make sure you subscribe and get alerts from my channel. You should get just a little, I don't think it's anything too intrusive, but you just get like a little notification that says, Bitcoin Schmitcoin posted a video, and that way you can see my little video series that I've been doing with Bitcoin Magazine. I really like doing those rather than writing. I feel like with crypto, it's pretty hard to understand, and it helps to have a visual aid, and maybe sometimes someone rambling like myself. So. Feel free to let me know if you like it, you hate it, whatever. I'm trying to make adjustments on the fly because I'm not used to producing such short content. I tend to ramble on, as you may or may not have noticed. So, yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. If you've ever been interested in joining my trading group, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and use coupon code, what the hell is it? Spring19? Yeah, and get 50% off your first subscription. Anyway, okay, let's get started. So, unless you've been living in a fucking cave, the charts are looking incredibly bullish. Let's start with the Bitcoin chart, of course. I personally have been charting 4 different exchanges because the charts all look different, and it's really annoying. But it is what it is, right? If you look at them relative to one another, you kind of see some similarities. Like with Bitfinex, it has this giant premium, but you can see it's currently testing the top of its range. So what we'll do is we'll talk about the non-Bitfinex stuff, and then we'll talk about the Bitfinex stuff, right? So let's go ahead. For my reference, I like to look at Bitstamp. A lot of people like to look at the perpetual swaps on BitMEX. Some people like to use Coinbase, whatever. I think Coinbase is good. I think Bitstamp is good. The liquidity kind of sucks on Bitstamp, so sometimes Coinbase is a little bit better, but you do tend to see a cleaner trend, I've noticed. You don't see as many of these erratic spikes in volume like you do on Coinbase, so you kind of get a smoother trend, a more normalized sort of thing. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about, we'll look at Coinbase first, and then we'll break down what the hell's going on. Okay, so let's look at the daily chart first. Oh, this is a nightmare. Okay, so bear with me because I got to relabel all this stuff, which may or may not be helpful to see how an idiot like myself likes to construct charts. Okay, so as with any sort of analysis, you look to the left and you try to predict what the hell's going to happen on the right. So let's go ahead and outline some major support and resistance levels, because we can see that we're pushing highs, right? we're in a very obvious uptrend here. We're making we're making making higher highs. We're making higher lows. So the trend obviously is up. That is a definition of an uptrend, right? So where's this thing going to stop? Where's it likely to reverse? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about where the major support lies if we fail to rally. But right now, let's operate under the assumption we're going to rally because we're testing highs. The trend is clearly up. It looks strong. So let's use that as our bias, okay? So first of all, there is major overhead resistance right in this level, right at the 6150 if you're on Coinbase. I think on Bitfinex it's something else because, again, it's really annoying. But let's go ahead and pretend like everyone trades on Coinbase, okay? You can argue that this is the first line of resistance, which we've already tested. But you can see pretty clearly that, like, this is the area that got the most respect. And once we maintain support prior to breaking it, that's when it rallied upward, right? So let's call this level support rather than this level. This is like, I'm sorry, resistance. I mean, yeah, cool. It's like probably a point of a little bit resistance, but I don't care about the little stuff. I'm looking at like what's going to make this thing reverse, right? So when we look at stuff like that, this is the level we got to keep an eye on, okay? If we're looking at the weekly, again, we see nice confluence of daily and weekly support and support turned resistance. And when we look at the weekly chart, there's not a whole lot going on until we come into this zone. And this is something I've been harping on for weeks, for the past 4 or 5 weeks, in my Bitcoin magazine articles, my videos. This is what I've been harping on, that there's nothing going on in here. You know, not everyone, I hate when everyone says everyone, but a lot of people with a lot of followers and a lot of influence, it's like so stupid. Like the market breaks out of this thing, right? This long consolidation on very high volume, on very high spread. And the moment it sees a little red candle, everyone's like, oh, it's going to pull back. It's going to do all this dumb shit down here. It's like, dude, man, like this thing just consolidated. If you think that this thing's going to consolidate, break out, and just immediately reverse, I don't know what to tell you, because like, when has that ever happened? When have we ever just consolidated for like 2 months, broken out, and then just been like, nah, not for me, bro. I'm just going to reverse, right? So not only that, but like I said, there's just like this giant zone of nothing. This giant zone of nothingness in here. I've been calling it the no man's land in my videos, but there's nothing in here, meaning that there's, you know, there's like a couple of these little levels in here, but there's nothing major. There's no major market pivots here. This level or something like this or something like this, these are way more significant than something that's like in an uptrend and it pulls back to find support and then it keeps going. Okay. This isn't something that's going to like have major impact on a macro trend. Stuff like this is what we're looking for. Major pivot zones that when the market comes into it, it makes a market structure changing decision. Market structure changing decision. Yeah. Okay. And up until now, we haven't had anything. Like, yeah, we've had this like a bit of volatility in our daily range. But let's go ahead and talk about this on a 4-hour time scale now that I've beaten this point like a dead horse. And we can clearly see that there's nothing going on in here, okay? Nothing major until 6150 on Coinbase, okay? So let's look at the 4-hour chart. Let's talk about what's going on, okay? So if you're not familiar with Wyckoff analysis, I'm going to use some terms that maybe you may or may not understand, and I'll try to break them down for you. But this let me make a little channel for you guys. So we can clearly see that we're in an uptrend, like I said, right? So we see higher lows. We see higher highs, okay? The definition of an uptrend. Anytime I see a well-defined uptrend or a downtrend, I like to slap supply and demand channels on my trend just to see where overbought and oversold regions will occur, okay? So the first thing I do, right, is I see where does the market pivot. Okay, so let me do this one step at a time. I'm gonna walk you through the methodology here. Okay, so we see clearly that the market's pivoting on higher highs again and higher lows again, right? So if you could do this a couple of different ways. You could just draw a straight line, right? You get an okay sort of thing, but then sometimes you'll go down here and you'll be like, I kind of see a straight line, but then you see this dirty little trend. There's a tool on TradingView. It's really handy. I think I have it on my favorites bar, but where is it? It's under this guy. Yeah, right here, parallel channel. If you don't use it, I mean, you can get by without using it, but the general rule for using supply and demand channels is that you look for two pivots or two swing highs, and you look for a swing low in between. So what you do is you connect the swing highs with your channel, boom, and you drop it down to the swing low. Okay, from here, I'm going to extend, you don't really care about extending it backwards, but sometimes it's fun just to look at it, and you see, look at this, like magic. It just lines up. Why does that line up? Because it's a normalized sort of trend, right? It's not going parabolic where you have to worry about blow off. It's a nice, steady, sustained uptrend. And right now we're testing the top of this thing. So this can mean one of two things. You could argue that, okay, we're entering an overbought zone. Overbought being the top of the channel, and oversold would be bottom of the channel. You can see every time it broke through the bottom, it got immediately bought up, and as it nears the top, it tends to wick. But now, for the first time since we broke out of that range, since the beginning of April, we see that we're actually consolidating toward the top of the range, top of this ascending channel. And oops, not only is it consolidating, but the volume is pretty steady. Okay, so this not only is it consolidating, the volume is steady, but it's finding support on the previous highs. Okay, in general with Bitcoin, I look at like 3 time frames. I look at the 60-minute, the 4-hour, and the daily. Weekly's fun to look at, but a lot of stuff can happen on a weekly time frame, so I tend to not look at that as much. Even if I'm looking to look at the macro trend, I generally look at the daily. The weekly is a nice reference point, but the daily provides plenty of information for what I'm going to be doing with it. But here's the 4-hour support and resistance level. Previously, this was resistance, and now we're finding really nice support here, and this is like exactly what we want to be seeing. Okay, so again, this is the 4-hour chart. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this zone, because this is going to give us a lot more information. So you can see that as we're constructing this chart, first we looked at the daily, right? We figured out our bias. Our bias is we have an uptrend. We looked for major trouble zones, right? Where's the macro resistance? Where's the macro support? So we see we're in an uptrend. We see there's not a whole lot of macro resistance yet for another $200, $300. Cool. So now we have a bullish bias. Now we zoom in. Okay. Now we're on the 4-hour chart. We see we have a nice ascending channel. We see we're consolidating on top of previous highs, which was previously resistance, and we've even tested it a few times. So now let's look at the 60-minute chart. Okay. So again, what do we see? We see higher highs, higher lows. We see consolidating volume. We see, what else can we take away from this? We do see a level of resistance that we have yet to claim. So we'll draw a line here. Okay. With the volatility of crypto, sometimes it really helps to look at the closes, because sometimes you get these like crazy wicks and you don't really know what to make of it. So like when I'm making my ranges, a lot of times I look at oh look, we popped a new high. We look at the closes. So you can see here, we popped this high. This is a new high in general. And So now we're going to see in real time how this market reacts to this high, because it could very easily come back down. So the general rule of thumb is you wait whatever time frame you're trading, whether it's 4 hour, hourly, daily, you wait for the close. You always wait for the close, and then you place your trade. So right now we have 26 minutes until this thing closes. And all we can say now is that it's popped a new high. We can't say whether that's bullish. We can't say whether that's bearish. We have to wait. So while we're waiting for that, let's talk about some other markets, because Ether is, I'm sure, why 90% of you are here. To be honest with you, this looks like it's making a swing failure pattern, but we'll take a look at it in a minute. Okay, so here's, oh, this is still Bitcoin. What the hell am I doing? Here's Ether. All right, so let's look at the daily time frame for Ether. As you can see, my chart is fucking barren, but we'll make do and we'll reconstruct it. Okay, so first thing we notice, once again, higher lows, higher highs. Oops, shit, that was all of them. Higher highs. The trend is up. Okay, so we have a bullish bias. So now let's go ahead and look at our major support and resistance levels. We see here that we see a really nice support and resistance flip. Check for the bulls. This was our daily level that we'll talk about this price action specifically in a minute, but let's just talk about what this means. So we see here that we had resistance several times, and then the market popped above and found support. We did see this little bit of a shakeout, and we'll talk about more in depth what this blue rectangle is here in a minute. But let's go ahead and look at more trouble zones that may affect us in the not so distant future. Okay, so first thing, we see this 197 zone on the weekly. We can go ahead and draw a nice horizontal there. And I'd be willing to bet if we extend this over here, would you look at that, we see a nice support turned resistance zone. So we do have a trouble zone right overhead, but not the worst thing in the world. We've seen crazier breakouts. So let's go back to the daily. Now that we've got this range, now that we've got this range here, sorry, not a range, but like a band of prices where we've been operating. Let's go ahead and look at the 4-hour chart for this thing, because this is where it gets really interesting. If you've been following me for the past fucking 3 weeks, I've been very bullish on Ether, and it's just been like teasing these breakouts and teasing these breakouts. And truth be told, I think it's teasing another breakout. I don't think this is going to be the breakout. When we look at the volume, we don't see anything spectacular. I would like to see this come back here and retest this zone here. We have yet to actually hold above this level. So the most bullish thing we could do is, aside from just going straight up to the, to join Elon on Mars, aside from that, the most bullish thing we could do is come back down and establish this as new support. Because so far it's failed as support one time. It's been resistance 1,000 times. And until this actually gets tested, it's not technically support. So if we can establish that, not only will it give us a nice entry, but it'll give us a high confidence entry if we come down here, see a test, maybe even a second test, a shakeout, and then boom. That's what I would like to see. This is one of my favorite plays that I make. It's a very high percentage play. You can set your stops very, very tight and have a high confidence for like a super high risk to reward play. To be honest with you, I think that this is going to, if you're familiar with what a swing failure pattern is, I've been eyeballing this for a swing failure. Jesus, I've been eyeballing this for a swing failure pattern setup all day, and we still got like an hour and a half to close, but this volume isn't exactly the most amazing thing in the world. So even if it does set up a swing failure pattern, it's not the worst thing. Like I would really like to see this come back down here and test. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, what else can we say about this? If you're familiar with what a reaccumulation trading range is, this is like textbook reaccumulation here. We see consolidating volume throughout the range. We see a really nice shakeout, retest on like 0 volume, and then we see this spring into an uptrend, which had us jumping our creek. So this thing actually had, like, you can say 2 or 3 creeks, where here's a creek, here's a creek, and here's a creek. And each time we see this BUEC, which is back up to the edge of the creek. And basically it's a fancy way of looking at an obscured support turn resistance. So we broke above, we retested, we broke above, we retested, and now we broke above, and I want to see it retest again. Because if it does, and we do this like nice stair-stepping thing going upward, that's going to be hella bullish. Yeah, and if we look at the BTC pair, like this dude is saying, like he thinks I'm a jukebox. There's a cause for some bullishness here. So I posted this chart on the weekly a few days ago, sometime last week, I think. And people have been saying, they're like, oh man, the Ether Bitcoin chart looks like shit. It's bleeding out. It's dying. Ether is not bullish, blah, 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 right? But if you zoom out, you see that there's this really nice level here that got retested. So we see this little shakeout. We see a nice retest. And, you can argue this thing is like a sloppy inverse head and shoulder sort of thing, where here's the shoulder, head, shoulder. I mean, whatever the hell you want to call it. I like this setup. It's coming into nice support here. This would be if we extend this line over here, we see a nice support and resistance flip for this level. And yeah. So weekly looks good. It's still the weekly just opened, so we have 6 more days left on it. But the daily chart doesn't look bad. It is setting up again the swing failure pattern sort of set up on the 4-hour chart. This is another reason why I think that we're going to see a pullback on Ether USD. Not a pullback that's like going to devastate the market, but one that's going to give you a nice entry. So, be patient. This would also line up really well with an inverse head and shoulder set up on the 4-hour for Bitcoin or Ether Bitcoin pair. So the market comes back down, retest this support level, this guy, or maybe even this guy here, this general zone. It would give us a nice shoulder. So if it comes down here, that'd be super sweet. And it would give us an opportunity to blow through this daily resistance level here, which is this. God, that scared the shit out of me. That notification. We see that there's a daily resistance level, which, these levels like this don't usually crack the first go. So we see one test, we see a deeper test. I'd like to see it come down here, and from here it'll have a nice running start at breaking this level. And yeah, but you can see here that there's a lot of chop in here on the daily level. There's a lot of chop that's going to give us some turbulence on the way up. But yeah, if you're patient and you don't try to chop trade this, this could play out really nice. This could be the bottom for Ether. I'm not saying it is the bottom for Ether, but I mean, this looks really, really good. I haven't even looked at the daily cloud. Oh, the daily cloud looks like shit, but sometimes that happens before it turns bullish. How do I get rid of that? Regular charting. Oh yeah, the other thing too. I'm going back to the Ether USD pair. If we look at the cloud here, this thing's looking really bullish, right? So we broke through. Keep in mind this is Bitfinex, but we broke through the 200 EMA. God damn it, broke through the 200 EMA. If you're familiar with cloud anatomy, like this is really bullish right here, right? So we see, first things first, the cloud's green, right? The Tenkin's above the Kijun, so you see the fast moving average above the slow moving average, which means that we were in an uptrend. The lagging span, this yellow guy, is above the price. The price is above. I'm sorry. All the anatomy is above the cloud. Like this is an A plus check bullish setup for the cloud. Which reminds me. So if we go back to Bitcoin, if you're a cloud bro, if we go back to Bitcoin, the daily cloud on Bitcoin is like super fucking bullish. So there's just so many things that are saying, man, this market is like ready to go. So like look at this cloud. If you're familiar with the cloud setup at all, like this is just screaming bull mode. Like this is screaming macro sustained uptrend is most likely in the cards for this thing. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. If I'm going to do a bunch of coins. We can talk about a bunch of coins because my charts aren't pre-set up because of what I said earlier. If you guys have any coins you want to look at, let's go ahead and look at it, and we'll take a view. But first, I'll go through some of the coins that I'm personally in and the ones that I'm looking at and keeping an eye on. First thing is Manero. I have been posting about this for the past few weeks, but this Manero chart is this is the Bitcoin chart. Okay, sorry, I confused myself. This Manero chart looks really good. I'll relabel this, but we see that it just popped a new high. First of all, if we make a little horizontal trading range, we get a nice clean view of what a reaccumulation trading range really looks like. We see the shakeout again. We see a retest. Oops. We see a retest there. And then we see this jump across the creek. This is exactly what I was talking about. On my tweet, I said, I'd like to see this thing jump to the top of the trading range on high spread and high volume. We don't have high volume. It's above average volume, but we do see high spread. And not only that, but this is what I talked about before with the BUEC. We see the breakout and then the retest of the level, and now we're rallying. So Manero looks really bullish right now. And I think if we look at the daily cloud, it's another bullish setup. It just broke through the 200 EMA. This thing looks like it could just rip, go on a sustained uptrend. And not only that, but like this reaccumulation trading range is on the heels of this gigantic Adam and Eve double bottom, where here's the neckline. We see Adam, we see Eve, and if you're familiar with double bottom setups, this is I forget what the technical term for it is, but sometimes you get a double bottom where it looks like this. It goes boop, 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 and it just runs. But then sometimes you get this where it goes here, and right above the neckline, we get this like consolidation here, and then it runs. Whenever that happens, that's not only is it a really great entry opportunity, but it's more bullish, because what happens is, rather than this thing running and people taking profit and shorters trying to short this thing down, the shorters short early, and it gets reabsorbed here, so that everyone who is going to short above this macro level, well, they're already out of the picture. So now this thing's free to push up even higher. So yeah, that's the Manero chart. That's why I was posting it a few days ago. Whenever, God, I swear, man, this crypto cycle is hilarious. The moment, this is what I said in my Discord. The moment that this Tether FUD came out, I was like, oh, the bottom is in. Like the Bitcoin market is in full bull mode. They pulled all the cards out. They're like, China bans Bitcoin, the fucking Bitcoin ETF delayed. And finally they're like, oh, what else can we throw at them? Fucking Tether. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is a no brainer. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm just looking for bullish setups because this is so stupid at this point. This is like the exact same thing that happened last bull market, if you were around for that. Not only that, but here's another supporting evidence for Manero. We see we see a nice trading range here for Manero, and we see this really nice spring here. It's on low volume. It broke this like long held low, right? It hadn't been below this level in, it basically retested this low this support level that it's been holding for a couple years, and it's on super low volume. So this thing is like really absorbed. And what I would like to see from this is just a nice pop to the top of the trading range, maybe some sideways consolidation here and a rise upward. But this is just looking so good. Like high volume on the rallies to the top of the trading range, decreasing volume on the rallies down, right? Like this is just textbook accumulation. This is really what I want to see. Oh yeah, I see someone in the chat talked about the XMR USD. Yeah, I totally agree, Santiago. This is like, I'm in pretty heavy on XMR. Let me see if I can find my other charts. I took a nice position on XRP. I know everyone's like, oh, XRP sucks, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't give a shit if XRP sucks. The chart does not look bad. We see, let's go ahead and open this guy. So here's the weekly chart for XMR. We see first this nice pivot zone level, whatever you want to call it, where previously this was resistance. It popped over, became support, and now we're retesting it. And we're retesting it really violently. On the lower time frames, it looks like we're just kind of bleeding into it. But if you look at it on the weekly, like this is a violent move, right? Like look how the angle of this thing is increasing. Like this looks like capitulation if I've ever seen it. So I got in right around like 31, 32 cents, which, I mean, if ever there was a case for a stable coin, XRP is it right now. It has not changed in value much at all for like the past 20 years. So, yeah, so that's where we are right now. And if we look at the daily level, we can see that the volume is kind of just trickling. So, a little underwater on it, but I think XRP is going to perform really well. And if we look at the USD chart, let me pull up more price history. Does Bittrex have good price history? No, Poloniex does, doesn't it? Poloniex has good price history on everything. Yeah. So if we look at the weekly, we see we're like holding this support level real nice. Let me get my cursor on there. Boom. This zone right here. I mean, dude, it's totally possible that this thing just falls right through this and goes down to 14 cents. But the way that Bitcoin chart looks, the XRP BTC chart looks, this looks more like a parabolic bottoming. Whenever you look at like altcoins that have just gone parabolic and then bottomed, like that's what this looks like to me. A lot of people are drawing comparisons between this and the Bitcoin chart when it broke through the 6K. But yeah, I mean, I don't see anything outstandingly bearish about this, so I don't mind sitting underwater on it for a little bit. Not the worst thing in the world. Also, I'm looking at Decred, or as I like to call it, Street Cred, and EOS. So first we'll look at Decred. So Decred's chart actually looks really similar to Manero. So I won't go too much into it, but you can see very clearly an Adam and Eve double bottom. It has this little reaccumulation zone, and now it's testing a new high, and it looks ready to rock and roll. And then if we look at the that's where I'm at with Decred. The BTC chart also supports this argument. If we look at EOS, EOS has a nice daily Bollinger Bands W bottom. It's really nice, actually. So we see this low, see a new low. We could easily see this thing rallying up, and it also SFP'd, swing failure pattern, this setup right on support. So if we look at this level right here, we can see it really, it's finding nice support there. So and then if we look at the Bitcoin pair on it, I'm sorry, that was the Bitcoin pair. If we look at the USD pair, we see something similar to that, where it's testing support right around here, and so far so good, it's held. I hope I can find my ADA chart. Man, this whole thing wiped me out. So let's go ahead and look at ADA. I bought a nice little chunk of Cardano because of this. It had a really violent shove into this level right here, and so far it's holding it. So, and this is also reflected on the daily. So if we look at the daily chart, we see a really violent move upward. This is actually kind of fucked up because it had a really nice head and shoulders bottom, and then everyone who longed the breakout of this thing, if they didn't take profit, they're at a loss. It's kind of shitty, but it is what it is. But if we look at the USD chart looks a little bit more bullish than the Bitcoin chart. If we look at the USD chart, we see this support level here, and you can argue here, and so far it's just kind of hanging out. I did get this nice daily SFP here, so that's cool. Yeah, so far so good on this guy. If we look at, let me pull up give me a second, guys. Let me pull up my trading view list. I'll look at, see, sometimes there's so many coins out there, man. I just forget what coins exist sometimes. Zcash. Let's look at the coin that just will not stop dropping. It's kind of funny, actually. If we look at Zcash, it has done nothing but just drop and drop and drop. But I actually own some Zcash. I think this is capitulation zone. I think all this is just people that are either dissatisfied with its performance, or they've just given up on it. But right now it's entering literally uncharted territory, as it's just popping just lower lows. But if we look at the Zcash USD chart, this is where we start to see some interesting stuff. So on the USD chart, however, this is why I'm particularly interested in this guy. We see the first retest of this support turn resistance. Or I'm sorry, resistance turn support. This is our first time retesting it. It's our first time holding it. Let me find a better chart. God. What's a good chart for Zcash? Poloniex maybe? They all look different. It's so annoying. Yeah, this isn't bad here. So yeah, anyway, we see this nice support turn or resistance turn support here. And now it's kind of doing this like reaccumulation thing. But one of the dead giveaways that this is most likely kind of seeing at the lowest it's going to go is that after this breakout where we see large volume here, let's say this guy and this guy, these are signs of sponsorship in the market, and the market is not likely going to break those lows. We can see here that, you know, we saw this short-lived wick, but we see nice consolidation here. It kind of looks like a little bear flag, but I think it's actually going to break up. You know, maybe I'll be wrong, but yeah. So yeah, those are just some of my a few of my favorites. What are some of the coins you guys want me to look at? Oh, Bitcoin's breaking out. Nice. What does this dark line have on my chart? Oh, it's this previous low. I see. Nice. So there you go. See, you can see Ether's not really following it though. Kind of makes me think that this is that Ether's going to see. It's kind of making me think that whenever Bitcoin, you know, whenever it does do a little bit of a pullback, you know, maybe it like retests this previous high. That's when Ether is going to pull back, because it doesn't really look like it wants to run right now. So we just go into 6K. Yeah, I mean on Bitfinex it's at 6K, 6.2. So yeah, it looks like we're about to hit 6K on the stream. I mean, it's 50 shy, so I would not be shocked to see this thing. So the crazy thing is, though, if we look at the long to short ratio, like these shorts are still underwater. Still. I'm dumbfounded right now. These shorts are still underwater. Which means that there's likely going to be a short squeeze. You want me to look at ZRX? Sure. What has a long history on it? Binance? Nope. Bitfinex? Ah, there we go. Oh, wow. ZRX looks like it's making a big head and shoulders bottom. Look at that. Big old head and shoulders bottom. That's a big old head and shoulders. This doesn't look like a bad spot to be buying. We see a nice support turn resist. I keep flipping those things. Resistance turn support here, and it's holding it really nicely. So it's not bad. This would not be a bad place to get in. Actually, I like this chart a lot. Yeah, I like this chart a lot, actually. How about Neo? Oh god, Neo chart. The Neo chart looks like such shit. Look at this. Wait. Dude, Neo just broke this support level, and there's nothing below it for so long. Neo looks like absolute shit right now. I mean, maybe it rallies, but this looks like absolute dog shit. Like there's shit and then there's absolute shit. This looks like Stellar did before it broke its support and then just bled out of its eyes. But yeah, this looks horrible. Scicoin, yeah. Where is it? I had it on one of these charts. Yeah, so Scicoin's just been like chilling. But Scicoin does look very bullish. It's got a really clean accumulation trading range, and it's just hanging out. I have not become any less bullish on Scicoin. This looks really good to me. I haven't looked at the Bitcoin chart in a while. Look at that thing bleed. Look at that thing go. Wow. Testing all-time lows. Wow, that's crazy. It actually made it down there. Boom. That is actually crazy. Yeah, see, this shows you how long it's been since I looked at this damn thing. But yeah, the USD chart looks really bullish. I like this too. I'm bullish on Scicoin, the project. I think it's a cool project. It's one of the few things, or one of the few charts that I find like actually has a solid use case. But this is crazy. What else? BCH, dude. To be honest with you, I don't even chart BCH anymore. Like, I don't understand it. There's like so many Bitcoin Cash charts. Which one are you talking about? Like, there's a fucking 1,000 of them now. The hell? Why is there a gap down? What is this? I've I've never even seen that happen before. Yeah, first gap fill on crypto. No shit. The hell? I don't know what to make of this. I know that like credible crypto is like super bullish on Bitcoin Cash, but to be honest with you, I just haven't even looked at this thing. This is just such a train wreck. Yeah, dropped on earnings report. That's right. After Craig Wright started suing everybody, they're just like in their own little world now. Roger Ver is like against him too. What else you guys want to see? Yeah, Manero. Let's get a little pep in your step. I like Manero. Monero's cool. ICX. think I charted this a while ago. Oh, this was looking so bullish. What happened to you? It was so bullish for a little while. Oh, the USD pair doesn't look bad actually. It's kind of doing this. I like charts where you see this like stair stepping of support and resistance. So this level hasn't been tested though, so that's not the best. But so we see here that there's like resistance here. I broke above it. Now it's finding support. But yeah, there are definitely better charts out there than this. It's just kind of a mess. OMG. OMG might be making a Bollinger Bands W bottom here on the BTC pair. Not a huge fan of this on the USD pair. I mean, I know it's like holding above it right now, but I'm not a huge fan of how deep this went here. And it didn't, well, yeah, I don't like charts like this either, where it doesn't like take a logical stop and a logical pivot. Like, I don't like this. I don't like that this chart came down here and randomly pivoted. Like, there's nothing really around here that would warrant that. So this kind of looks like it's just a dead cat bounce kind of thing. But I mean, I could be wrong. This isn't a chart that I personally would play, but that's just me. Yeah, I like things that are like very logical. Like when I look at XMR, for example, like I can look at the chart and be like, I see exactly what's happening. The market moved here to capture this liquidity. The market went here to, you know, stop shorts, to gather longs. Like when I look at things and I can see it and see like, oh, this had a logical retest, you know. It's had a very clean retest of the previous high. That makes sense. I see on the 4-hour chart there's a spring and a retest of this trading range low. Like, this all makes sense to me. Right? Like, all of this I can look at and I can rationally deduce what's going on. But when I look at something like this OMG chart, I don't like this. This says to me that there's a lot of weak hands in the market still. There's still a lot of supply that is yet to be absorbed, and this trading range could go on for a while. I mean, there was a decent buying response here, but again, it's just like I have very specific setups that I like to play, and this just isn't one of them for me. Oh yeah, so let's talk about XLM. Someone on Twitch was asking for XLM because the XLM chart looks like a big old pile of shit. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by drawing some. God, I'm so pissed that my charts got wiped. All right, so here are some daily levels we broke. This is like, to be honest with you, XLM is a really clean chart. It's a very clean chart. It's just bearish, that's all. But it is approaching my buy zone, so that's fun. My buy zone is this level right here, this 1520 Satoshis. But yeah, it literally, like, I wrote an article like back when it broke this level here, So middle of January, I wrote an article about this, and it literally did exactly what I said. It came back down, it retested this high, retested this low, and now it's coming back down here, and it's heading toward this this monthly level. Which, if you're looking at the daily, doesn't become inherently obvious, but here's the monthly level right here. We can see that there's the close, and yeah. So I'm actually looking to go long on XLM, just not right now. I'm waiting for this level right here. All right. Any other charts? Here, while you guys are figuring out what charts we want to look at, I'll go ahead and show my Discord one more time. For the next month, I'm running a coupon code for 50% off, and it's spring 19. So go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and check it out. I post all my trades in my Discord. You know, I'm active on Twitter, but I don't ever go into detail about my trades. I just post my view of the market, but in the Discord, I go into a lot more detail about that stuff. And there's a lot of other really good traders in there. You know, it's not the biggest community in the world, but I like having a small group of people that are solid and level-headed. So if that's something you're interested in exposing yourself to, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and use coupon code SPRING19. The crypto markets aren't the only thing we trade either. We trade stocks and commodities and metals and Furbies and Cabbage Patch dolls. So, question, thanks for the charting. You're welcome. What are your feelings about alts in general at the moment? Seeing bottoms, or think there's more downside? So said he was talking about alts for the last half hour. Thank you for saying that. I didn't say that. He said that. My feeling on alts. So obviously Bitcoin's rallying, right? Obviously Bitcoin is rallying. Oh, sorry, that's Manero. Bitcoin's rallying and it's coming into resistance. But I mean, I know a lot of people are expecting this like grandiose pullback and retest of this 4,100 level. And maybe we do, but I'm just not sold on that idea, to be honest with you. I think too many people want that to happen. And because too many people want that to happen, it's just not going to happen. So what do we see, right? We see this congestion of short interest. Like, look how many shorts are open right now, and we haven't popped any of them. So what makes the most sense to me if I'm an institutional investor and I'm seeking out liquidity and I want to mark up an asset is I'm looking for what everyone else is not doing and what will get them to push the price up. So the meta, in my opinion, is that we actually don't see a giant pullback. If I'm an institutional investor, I push the price up, I pop these shorts, and I absorb all of them, every single one of them. And what do? I push up even more. So then people keep shorting. And all of a sudden, wait, what happened? Did the stream just go out? Oh, that was weird. My stream on my end just cut out. That was really fucking weird. Did the stream cut out for any of you guys? Huh, that's really weird. Okay, anyway. Oh, Kyle, I'm glad you're here. I was so worried about you. So anyway, if I'm looking for like some crystal ball meta, this is what I would do if I was an institutional investor with a shitload of money and I'm looking to absorb Bitcoin and really start a rally. Okay, so what have we seen? Let's talk this through. What have we seen so far? We've seen Bitcoin look really bullish, but we've seen crypto Twitter really bearish, except for like a handful of people. You know, for the most part, Most people are pretty bearish. I mean, clearly, look how many people are short, look how many people are long, right? So the overall sentiment is bearish, despite the fact that we're moving up, okay? Meanwhile, everyone's bullish alts, and they're all pushing down. They're pushing down, and people are like, oh, alt season's coming, alt season's coming. And a lot of coins are breaking all-time lows. Like Zcash is a fucking nightmare right now. So what do I think is going to happen? I think if I had to guess and I had to perform a thought experiment like this, I think the price keeps going, to be honest with you. I think Bitcoin pushes up, and whoever's operating this, whoever's operating Bitcoin, whoever the composite operator is, pushes it up, pops all these shorts. Maybe we see a little bit of a pullback, but I think all these shorts get bought up. These all get bought up spot, right? And maybe we see a little bit of a pullback to bait in more shorts to get people to take profit on their longs. But I think ultimately we just keep going. That's what I think. I think we see a very violent move and maybe a retest of this level here, and we keep going. Meanwhile, what happens is we break out, and rather than pulling back to the depths of hell, like everyone is expecting this. Everybody thinks that this is going to happen. Just like everybody thought that we were going to come back down here and then we were going to go. They think that because it happened one other time in Bitcoin history. So people say, "Oh, that's what's going to happen," right? We look back at the Bitcoin price history. People say, "Well, it did this one time, so therefore it'll happen again." People saw it happen here. We broke this low and then we rallied. But I don't think we do that. I think we're skipping this altogether, and I think we're somewhere here. Maybe even somewhere here. Like this chart is so bullish. Like look at this thing. There, like I don't see it. I don't see this bearish argument that everyone is pitching, where it just comes back, it goes up and it comes back down, or it comes up and it goes down here somewhere. Like look how much volume is interested in this buying activity. If this volume is not tapering off, it's flat, right? It's flat here and it's strong, and we see these giant rallies. So I think ultimately we break up, we go sideways. Maybe we come up, we go sideways, we see a little bit of a shakeout, and we go here. But what I think is, while we're here and everyone's shorting, everyone's going to be shorting this. Everyone's going to be taking profit here. I think that's when the alts rally. I think after this rally here, and we come up here and we find our next range, that's when the altcoin season starts. That's what I really think. So right now, I'm heavily interested in buying up alts because I think in the next couple weeks, maybe a month, somewhere in there, we see some crazy rallies, while the latecomers to Bitcoin are like buying up Bitcoin, and then we start to see this stupid. This is the cycle of cryptocurrency. Okay, you see, during accumulation, everyone's bearish. Okay, we break out, and people have been conditioned for the past year and a half to short the highs. So this whole time, everyone's been shorting, despite the fact that we are in an obvious uptrend. People have literally been conditioned out of being bullish. Okay, so what's going to happen is, finally, these dumbasses that were all bearish down here, this is going to come up, and then this is going to go sideways, and they're going to be like, "Oh, Bitcoin maximalism." We start to see all that Bitcoin maximalism rhetoric right in here, and the alts are going to soar, and they're going to be bearish on the alts while they're going crazy. Like this is, I'm willing to bet my reputation on this. This is what always happens. Yeah, so someone said Swen posted the Bitcoin corollary with silver. I don't like that chart. I don't put any I don't like it. I don't see it. Well, should we call it? We got our excitement for the evening. See the nice little pop. See a nice little pop. I'm actually interested in this swing failure pattern here on Ether. I'm looking to get a little shorty action on. I really think this is going to come back down and retest this before it goes anywhere else. But that's just me. Anyway, once again, if you like these videos and stuff, like, subscribe, put on your alerts so that you can get alerted when I go live or when I post video content. Because I post all my Bitcoin Magazine short video series that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays/Fridays. I post all that on my YouTube account and in my Discord. So if you're interested in joining my trading community, go to bitcoin.com. Not bitcoin.com. Roger Ver owns that. BitcoinSchmitcoin.com. That's mine. Jesus. Go to BitcoinSchmitcoin.com and you use coupon code Spring19 for 50% off. Yeah. I'll keep doing the little short video series, but I kind of like the idea of doing streams like once every couple weeks or once every few weeks. And I'll probably do another crypto and games too. I like those. Those are fun. It keeps it light. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter or by carrier pigeon or whatever. And yeah, don't stare at the charts too long.